This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
Do you play FanDuel and feel like you aren't creating consistent money-making lineups? Go over to the DFS Doctors on Twitter at the DFS Doctors and DM them with promo code Detroit Sports to get a free trial for their analytically formulated 70% lifetime profit rate NFL and NBA lineups. The whole purpose of playing daily fantasy sports is to get out there and compete and give yourself a chance to win. So go over to the DFS Doctors. Let them help you. They have analysts on staff that look at the best optimal lineup that you can put out there to win money. So why not take advantage? At the DFS Doctors, promo code Detroit Sports.
CBD is a game changer sweeping the nation. This hemp extract is the natural way to elevate your mood, eliminate aches and pains, reduce anxiety, and keep you sleeping all night long. It can even cut your workout recovery time in half. Get in the game today with 20% off all orders of CBD and lavender products from Lavender Lane, a lavender farm located right here in Milan, Michigan. Just go to lavenderlanemi.com today and enter coupon code Detroit for 20% off your entire order. Guys, look, these amazing products are infused with calming lavender to maximize their effectiveness, meaning your CBD items only take minutes to take effect, which is way quicker than those pills you were about to swallow. On top of it, they are perfect for men and women. Lavender Lane has lab-tested CBD creams, tinctures, and roll-ons that are perfect for any situation, even if you're on the go. Put your health back in your hands by heading over to lavenderlanemi.com and entering coupon code Detroit for 20% off your entire order of CBD and lavender products. What do you have to lose? Your satisfaction is guaranteed or your money back. So if you need lavender gifts for your loved ones or just looking for the natural way to ease your discomfort with CBD, go to lavenderlanemi.com and use coupon code Detroit to unlock these miraculous benefits of CBD and lavender. That's lavenderlanemi.com. And remember, use coupon code DETROIT for 20% off your CBD and lavender products from Michigan's own Lavender Lane.
What's up, Detroit sports fans? Welcome back to the Fan Reporter Show, made by fans for fans, powered by the Detroit Sports Podcast Network. I'm Nick, and sitting across from me is Andrew's going to give us this week's topics.
Well, the Pistons rumor mill keeps on churning, with names like Luke Kennard, Derrick Rose, and Markieff Morris all a part of it. We discuss what we want the Pistons to do, what we think they'll do, and pray that an actual Woj bomb drops during this recording. This is the pre-post deadline edition of the Fan Report.
Pre-post deadline. Okay, all right. Well, you heard the man. We are going to be talking some deadline talk today.
Should probably explain what pre-post means.
Basically,
we're recording this.
We're recording this on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
All right, we're recording this on Wednesday, and it's not going to.
Thursday.
The deadline's Thursday, and this will probably be released Sunday. Mm-hmm. So we're recording this pre-deadline. Mm-hmm. This will drop post-deadline. So we're going to give like our thoughts on potential trades, and then our thoughts on if they go down or if not go down.
And we'll try to like give you like our pre-reactions to a trade that didn't happen but could have happened.
Right. It's
so
a challenge.
If it does happen, you can come back and be like, this was what the reaction would have been.
Right. It's a challenge. However, we are experts, except not at all.
Yeah.
And we're stallions in what we do here in broadcasting, so we're going to do our best to give you what we got.
This is the equivalent of like a 6-10 split in bowling. I'm trying to nail that.
Sure. It's 7-10 split, by the way.
Sure.
That's the word you were looking for. Obviously, this is coming off of a 1-week layoff. We've had some scheduling issues the last couple of weeks, so it's been tough to kind of get together, record podcasts. Life gets in the way, so be it. We found time this week. We're going to keep trying to do that from here on out. You know, try and be as consistent as possible. But we are back. We're here. And we're ready to go.
Yeah.
So, if you wanted to pose some potential,
I'll start with the most recent one.
Trade talks, and obviously the most recent one that dropped this afternoon.
Yeah, what just dropped maybe a couple hours ago as of this recording was there are multiple teams eyeing Pistons forward Markieff Morris. These teams include the Lakers, the Clippers, the Bucks, the Sixers, the Celtics, and the Rockets. Now, for tonight's game, Markieff Morris is listed as out. No surprise, but it's not for the hip.
Right.
It's an illness.
Right.
Just like Clint Capella was out for like 3 straight games where he got traded.
Right. Now, I actually want to, before we get into
also
each
Kennard
one,
and Rose are also out.
Before we get into each individual trade here, I want to kind of start things off by listing all the potential trades that are out there, and then we'll go through them one by one. And I have a reason for doing this, and I'll get to it afterwards. But obviously, we have the Markieff Morris rumors floating around. We also have rumors that dropped yesterday of Luke Kennard being shopped around, being eyed by the Phoenix Suns. We've obviously had rumors of Derrick Rose being shopped around to several different teams. The most recent one I have heard is, what was it, Minnesota? And then beyond that, obviously, you also have the Andre Drummond rumors. There's also Reggie Jackson potentially out there with his expiring deal, which probably is going to happen.
Less and less.
Langston Galloway's a potential out there with his expiring deal, which there's not many rumors floated around, but I have heard some. The Lakers being a team that could be interested in him. He's a fit there. But beyond that, the reason I wanted to kind of mention all of them before we get into each one individually is because I'm going to say this. I am going to preemptively applaud the Pistons front office.
Oh, okay.
And not for, what hasn't happened yet so much, but what has already happened in the sense of the Pistons decided at some point during this year that they were going to try and rebuild this thing, trade assets that they have to try and acquire other assets in the form of either expiring deals, young pieces, or draft picks. And they are doing that by bringing in pieces in the offseason in the likes of Markieff Morris. You can throw Christian Wood in there. I'm surprised he's not getting any kind of trade talk because he's been so effective. Bringing in Derrick Rose and basically using the baseball philosophy of a rebuilding team of bring in guys that could on short contracts, low budget contracts, to then turn right around at the deadline time and just trade them for future assets.
Yeah.
It's the baseball philosophy of a rebuilding team. And that's what whether or not they did this on purpose didn't look like it, to be honest. But regardless, it's what happened. It's what's happening right now. And I will preemptively applaud them for doing that because this is a team that needs to rebuild. Now, I swear to God, if they go and fuck me on this and don't trade anybody, I will not be very happy.
That's what I'm afraid of. Like, let's not get too antsy with the applause for the business run off.
Right. I will then turn around and take my applause right back and be very angry because then you will have had all of these tradable assets that teams had interested in walk out the door for nothing.
Yeah.
And that's not a good thing. So going back into what you were mentioning about the Markieff Morris trade, we have four teams interested? The Lakers, Clippers, Bucks, 76ers, and Celtics are among teams interested in the Pistons forward.
Yeah.
That's one of those guys I mentioned that they brought in the offseason to essentially be a rental, so to speak, on a smaller contract that is movable but also workable in your own house.
Yeah.
And he's garnering some interest from other teams in the league at the deadline. And what I have to say about that is trade them all. Bring in as many draft picks, young pieces as you possibly can to rebuild this thing from the damn ground up and, move forward with this organization because what we have now is clearly not working. It's done. It's done.
But again, they're also, what we're noticing is their prices on everyone
Are way too damn high.
Pretty high. Like they're asking for like a lottery pick for Derrick Rose. It looks like they're after a first round pick for Kennard. Drummond, they wanted a couple they wanted a first plus
a young star. Plus a young star.
They wanted a package for Drummond.
Yes.
And I don't know what they're looking at, what they're eyeing for Markieff Morris. I don't know what kind of return they're eyeing. But
does this article give us any foresight?
No, it doesn't.
No?
So so either way, yes, they are looking to be sellers at the deadline, but they are also they're not it's not like they're a team that is desperate to trade away its players and rebuild because it looks like they're still trying to get as valuable of assets as possible, which is a good thing. However, at some point you can't get in the way of at least getting some deals done because I don't want to hold on to everyone this trade deadline. I want to at least start getting rid of pieces and start trying to acquire assets.
So This is
Does that
from
make sense?
Yes, this is from Rod Beard on Twitter.
Yeah, what's up?
He says, for what it's worth, all of the Pistons rumored in trade talks were at shoot around today, and these are all the names mentioned that have been thrown around in trade talks, within the last couple weeks. Derrick Rose, Andre Drummond, Luke Kennard, Markieff Morris, Langston Galloway, Svi Mikhailuk, and Christian Wood. So that right there tells you that they are willing to trade just about the entire nucleus of this roster as is.
But again, like I said, it's not like they're desperate to get rid of them because they have pretty high asking prices for just about everybody.
Well, they should be desperate to get rid of them because this team needs to rebuild and rebuild in a hurry. And I'd really be disappointed in this organization for allowing guys like Derrick Rose, Andre Drummond, Markieff Morris, Christian Wood, names like that to just walk away from this organization for nothing when it's all said and done. Nothing but money coming off your books. Because let's be honest, players don't want to sign here in a free agent deal unless you way overpay them, and then you'll be right back in the situation that you are now. So, yes, they should trade all of these players. Asking for a lottery pick for Derrick Rose is way too damn high. First round pick, like a back end first, 25 or later, okay, now we're talking. Andre Drummond, maybe a first or a young star, sure, but that's it.
Imagine they get everything they asked for. They get a lottery pick for Derrick Rose. They get the Phoenix Suns first for Kennard. And then they have their own for...
I mean, you'd have
You have
4
3
lottery
lottery
picks
picks.
at that point.
Well, yeah, if you get rid of Drummond and need a pick also, you have
Right.
4. But I would bet my house that's not all going to happen.
No, I would bet my house that none of it. I'd be thinking about betting my house that none of it happens because their asking price, they're just too damn high for these guys. Let's be real here. The market for a guy like Andre Drummond is very limited. There's only a select few teams out there that want a player of his skill set, and a lot of those teams aren't in the lottery, so to speak. And if they are, they don't want a guy who's on a player option for next year and is going to ask if he declines it, wants a max deal. Or if he picks it up, you're stuck with for another year for $25 million, and he may walk after that. So at that point, if you're in the lottery, Andre Drummond makes no sense for you. And if you're outside the lottery, well, then what do you look at? Then your asking price for him is not what the Pistons want.
Yeah.
Or your offering is not what the Pistons want, which, frankly, I think it's too damn high. I'll take a first-round pick and a Chandler Parsons type deal that's expiring. Just give me a top 15 pick, and I'm happy.
Look at what the Rockets got for Capella. I don't think there's that big a gap between Drummond and Capella.
I don't either. If anything, I think Capella's worth a little bit more on the open, on the trade market, just
He's more
because
tradable because
he's
of his
younger
contract,
and his contract is cheaper.
But and
by $10 million.
And they didn't get a pick. They just got Robert Covington.
Right.
Yeah. They didn't get a
Which
pick.
that's more of a win now move in their part because they wanted the pieces that Covington brings to their team.
Yeah.
But regardless.
Now, I'm not saying the Pistons should be selling cheap though.
No.
I definitely want them to be going after draft capital. I definitely want them to be going after young assets. I'm just saying I don't want them to be so dead set in all their prices that they get no deals done.
Now let me ask you this: would you rather you sell Drummond on the cheap? Let's say a couple of second-round picks and a young player, not necessarily a young star, like a young player who needs a change of scenery, like a DSJ. Let's throw him out, for example. That's what you get for him. Is that better to you than letting him walk at the end of the year when he declines his player option? Because, frankly, I'm in the mindset of...
You get something.
Yeah. So I'm willing to...
Something is better than nothing.
Exactly. So I am honestly, if you got nothing by like an hour left before the deadline... Get what you can get for him at that point, because something is better than nothing in every sense of the word. Because there's almost zero chance he picks up his player option, and if I swear to God you give him a max deal to come back, you will put this team in limbo for the next decade at that point. And I'm not down with that. Drummond has had a very good couple of years, but he's not fit for this basketball team, and on a max deal especially. He's not fit here. On a max deal especially.
I used to be very enamored with Dennis Smith Jr. in his rookie year, but he's kind of lost his luster recently. But I'd still be willing to take a chance at, maybe he breaks out rather than just get, again, nothing.
Right.
And that's my fear of if they're sticking to these to their demands but their demands aren't getting deals done. And then coming out of the trade deadline, wanting to be sellers and not selling anything, that's my fear.
Yeah, because at that point, you failed as a seller. You failed at starting your rebuild as an organization.
You
if you
failed
didn't
to
sell
adjust to the
anybody.
market. So you
The
failed
one that makes me kind of tilt my head to the side and go, a little bit is the Luke Kennard rumors. Just because he is still a young piece, he is a guy that you can still kind of build with, not necessarily build around, but build with. But I mean, if they're willing to move on from him, and if you're willing to get a first round pick for him, then so be it. That's fine.
Let's discuss those rumors real quick. So on Monday, Woj dropped the Woj bomb saying that Phoenix and Detroit are in serious discussions centering around Luke Kennard for a first round pick from Phoenix, as well as point guards Eli Kobo and Javon Carter. Pistons are obviously a team in need of point guards, especially if we're getting rid of Derrick Rose.
I don't necessarily know that Eli Kobo or Javon Carter are going to move the needle all that much.
I'm not saying they are. But again, for me, a first round, a lottery pick for Kennard, already cool.
I'd take that straight up.
Just giving you a shot at a couple young point guard prospects is just a sweetener for me.
Oh, absolutely. 100% agree.
I remember I really liked Eli Kobo going into the draft. He was from France. I remember I really liked him.
He just hasn't really panned out all that much, if I remember.
I just don't know if has he even been getting playing time. I have no idea.
So. Now, mind you, a couple of young prospects like that, they may never sniff the league, but it makes the money work at that point. But frankly, if you were to tell me the Pistons traded Luke Kennard for a lottery pick straight up, and we're not taking on a terrible contract, I'd say hell yeah.
Yeah.
Because and you can say, but maybe we should get more out of that for Luke Kennard. Isn't Luke Kennard worth a little bit more than just a lottery pick and a back end lottery at that with the way the Suns are playing right now? And I'd say you can make that argument. However, I have a plan here of what I want the Pistons to do, and if they're able to stack up lottery picks or stack up first round picks, they can use one or two of these to push themselves into the top 8 with a second top 10 pick along with their own. And if you're telling me that the Pistons have 2 top 10 picks, potentially a top 5 and a top 10, and then you manage to kind of swing a trade with D Rose or Andre and grab another lottery pick in there, I'm telling you right now, come draft time, I'm sitting there half chub, all excited. Because you tell me that we have 3 lottery picks, 2 of which are in the top 8. Oh boy, there's your rebuild right there.
Yeah.
Now, if you screw that up, just sell the whole damn team because you don't deserve to own a basketball team if you screw up 3 lottery picks in the same year. You don't deserve to own a basketball team at that point.
It would help if we actually had a GM.
It would. 100%. 100% agree.
Like, nothing against Ed Stefanski, but
nothing against Ed Stefanski or Arntelm or any of those guys, but we need an extra GM.
Like director of basketball operations, that was his official title?
No, it's like advisor to the front office of basketball. Or it's something weird. I don't even know. It makes zero sense to me on what his actual title is because it's not GM. I know that.
I'm going to find this out.
Either way, if you mean to tell me that, and that's why I'm willing to take something a little bit lesser on for a guy like Luke Kennard.
Senior advisor to the owner.
Yeah, okay. So as long as
assistant to the regional manager, Dwight Schrute.
Yeah, basically what Ed Stefanski is, assistant to the regional manager.
We had Dwight Schrute.
But if you're meaning to tell me that there's going to be dominoes here that are going to result in us getting multiple lottery picks to go along with our own. So say we come out of this draft with 2 or 3 extra first round picks. I'm pretty damn excited because you can package those together and move up even higher in the draft and get the star you're looking for. And you still got another first probably in there. So at that point, your rebuild begins right then and there. You still have Sekou Doumbouya. You still have a couple of pieces you like on your roster that you're going to move forward with to go along with a couple of lottery picks coming into next year. Mm-hmm. How better of a situation to set up an NBA team than to set yourself up with 3 or 4 lottery picks over the next couple of years right off the bat? Yeah. That's a dream come true for a rebuilding organization. And the Pistons actually have an opportunity right now to get that.
Let me ask you a question, because and this is something I've been seeing, because I don't know if you know this, but like Pistons Twitter has not been happy about these Kennard rumors. And a lot of where the backlash is coming from is a lot of them love Kennard, but a lot of them are also saying that they don't believe that this draft class is a draft class worth investing in. It's not a good draft class. Do you agree with that sentiment, that if it's not a good draft class, it's not worth building draft capital for?
No. because we've said that several times about bad draft classes that have turned out to be good, and we've said great things about draft classes that turn out to be bad. We don't know.
Yep.
Let's be honest here. Twitter experts, quote unquote, have no idea how good this draft class actually is.
I agree 100%.
One, that's my first point. My second point is
Not that we're experts.
not that we're experts, but I'm openly saying I do not know.
Exactly.
I'm not saying whether or not we should invest. And if we have an opportunity now to trade a guy and get draft capital, and this guy may not be a part of our future, honestly, go for it. Take the opportunities when they're given to you before they get ruined by something in the future. Take the Blake Griffin for an example. Last year, we probably had a lot of offers on the table for that man. A lot of really, really good offers on the table because of the way he was playing, going to a championship contending team. Do you think we get any now? Hell no.
Nope. And that's what.
That's why I'm saying strike while the iron is hot. Get your draft capital. If it means trading a guy that your fans love and could have been a piece of your future, fine. Let it happen. We'll get another one. Guys like Luke Kennard are not all that uncommon in the draft anymore.
Yeah.
There's shooters galore out there. Go find them.
It's not like you had a Klay Thompson in your hands where the guy can also is an elite defender on the perimeter.
He's not an elite anything.
That's what I'm saying. It's not like you have like a Klay Thompson on your hands where people were hoping that he could develop some defensibility and turn into that kind of guy. But it doesn't look like I'm not hating on Kennard. He's probably the best shooter on our team right now. It's either him or Svi. But when you're giving me that kind of haul for him, I would do it. So if that trade goes down, that's where just know that's what our reaction will be. We'll both be very happy that we got if we get that package, we got what we got for Luke Kennard. But going back to what you said about Blake Griffin, that's my main reason for being a proponent of trading Derrick Rose. I love everything Derrick Rose has done for us this season. I think he's been fantastic. However, it's almost like deja vu where you have a guy that's playing better than you expect him to play when he signed
Probably
him.
the best basketball he's played since he was before his first injury.
Yeah, and now there's a trade market for him. But it's another guy that also has a career history of serious injury,
which we're already kind of starting to see some semblance of, considering we played him for 30 plus minutes 2 nights in a row, and then he ended up having to sit out with knee soreness. That's a death sentence right there for the trade market. You can't let that happen.
Yeah.
Trade this guy now.
Exactly. Like it's you risk having a repeat Blake Griffin situation, and I would hope that the Pistons front office learn from their mistake with Blake Griffin and aren't.
Do you think the front office actually views the Blake Griffin situation as a mistake? Because I don't think they do.
No.
I don't think they do.
And if they do, then there's no way they're going to come out and openly admit that.
No. But they should. Because they had probably unbelievably great
do you think
opportunities.
Tom Gores views him nixing 2-3 Andre Drummond trades as a mistake?
I would sure hope he does, but he probably doesn't.
He won't.
It's his favorite player.
He won't admit it.
Exactly. But you had probably 2 or 3 great opportunities to get yourselves out from underneath what is one of the worst contracts in basketball in the future with Blake Griffin's contract, and you chose not to because you wanted to fight for an 8 seed in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
To then get blown out in one of the most lopsided series I've ever watched in my life by the Milwaukee Bucks. What did you gain there? Like, let's be real here.
We gained national TV appearances.
Whoa, and we got embarrassed on them. Blake Griffin was a ticking time bomb from the minute he donned a Pistons uniform and was playing the way he was, being relied on as much as he was. And because he was playing so well, he had so many trade offers. You had a bunch of, probably a few, won't say a bunch, but probably a few trade offers from a championship team to go and get his ass, and you get out from underneath that contract for years to come, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. And what do? Turn the other cheek, try to continue forward, and it bites you in the ass, and now he's worthless to you for anything other than what he could be next year, because he ain't coming back this year.
Nope, he's definitely not. And then you're on the hook.
And who knows what he's going to be next year.
You're on the hook for well north of $30 million.
Oh, yeah, close to 40.
Yeah.
And who knows what he's going to be next year. I can tell you right now, he's never going to play as good a basketball as he played last year. And I'll tell you right now, Derrick Rose will never play as good as basketball as he is right now. Trade him while the iron is hot. You got to if you want to be a proactive organization, you got to make proactive moves. This is a proactive move. That's how you be a good organization in the NBA. It's how you be a good organization in any sports.
Also, speaking of Derrick Rose, did you see that he dropped out of the skills competition?
I did see that. I thought that was kind of
what's the deal
interesting
with that?
timing. I thought it was kind of interesting timing. Maybe there is something afoot, and he wants to take some time to get his affairs in order instead of focusing on the skills competition. It could also be that his knee is bothering him, which is God please no.
Like he'd been named a while ago he was like the first participant named for
Right.
this. And the day after they finally officially announced participants, he drops out. And yeah, it could be a knee.
It could be a knee. It could be.
There could be a trade in place, and the other team doesn't want to participate. Just
that, or he wants to take the time to get his affairs in order.
Yeah.
Find a place to stay,
Yeah.
where he's going, figure out new city. Stuff like that. Who knows what it could be? But either way, one of those I like. The other one I do not, and both are very strong possibilities at this point. I'm really hoping it's not the knee, but recent events are starting to make me lean that way, considering he's had to sit out with knee soreness lately.
yeah, but he played. Didn't he play? He played last game, didn't he?
He
Or
did.
no?
He did. But he did sit out with knee soreness, I believe, sometime late last week, which was very concerning to me because it came after. Like, how can this front office allow Dwayne Casey to play him in two straight games, 35-plus minutes? How can you allow that? That's just straight up staring yourself in the mirror and then punching yourself in the face. Like, how can you allow that as an organization when you know this dude is a ticking time bomb? It's straight up borderline It's straight up not even borderline. It's straight up irresponsible.
Yeah, it's not borderline.
It's straight up irresponsible is what it is. You can't let that happen.
Like, call Jordan Bone up and let him play. Like,
Please. Hell, sign me up, coach. I'll go play so he doesn't have to play
the season's
35 minutes
done.
a
Just
game.
throw out the young guy.
Yes. I get it. You're only 4 games back from the playoffs. Who cares? You really want to go face Milwaukee in the first round again? Because I'll tell you what's going to happen. You're going to get demolished once again because they look every bit as good as they did last year, and you look even worse.
So, do you think, in terms of a Markieff Morris deal, do you think that it's going to garner anything more than like a second round pick, maybe a mid tier player?
No, but I'm fine with that. Get what you can get for him. He's got another year on his contract, but frankly, he ain't going to be any help to you next year because I don't think anything on this team is going to be any help to you next year. Get what you can get for him.
All right.
I'll trade the whole damn roster if I
I'm gonna give you
could.
an over under, and I'm going to base it on our trade. Player who was also decently effective for us, I think it was last year, Reggie Bullock. Remember we traded him for 2 seconds and Zvi, I think. Bigger or smaller haul than what we got for Reggie Bullock from Markieff Morris?
I think smaller, but not by much. And if that's what you get for Markieff Morris, I will be ecstatic. Draft capital, baby. Let's make it happen. And a young potential piece. Let's make it happen. I love it. If that's the type of deal we can get for Keith, do it right now.
Yeah.
I'd do that all day. Trade everyone for all I care.
I think you guys might be sensing a theme here. We're not targeting specific players in return.
Nope.
We just want draft.
I want youth and draft capital because I know this team is notorious for being terrible in the draft. And you say, oh, look at all these teams that go through the drafts and are terrible at it. Yeah, but if you give yourself enough chances, you're bound to hit on one or two of them.
Yeah.
It's like a roulette table, all right? Or it's like a roulette wheel. You put enough chips on enough numbers, you're going to hit one of them. You're bound to eventually, right?
Yeah.
So if you give us 7, 8 draft picks and out of 60 picks in the upcoming draft, please tell me they're going to hit one or two of them. And if you don't, sell the damn team, move it somewhere else, and bring in something new. Because frankly, clearly it ain't working here no more.
Yeah.
If you can't hit on at least 2 draft picks out of 6 or 7 or 8,
It's like
give up.
playing Battleship.
Yeah, pretty much.
You take 4 shots, and one of them's like bound to be a hit at some point.
Let's hope so.
Unless you're terrible strategy wise and you just all put in the same spot, like
Watch the Pistons will draft like 5 point guards.
one of them's got to be good.
Like my goal for the Pistons with this deadline, and they have such an opportunity to do this. They've set themselves up so well. You know what this reminds me of
Yo.
is the Clippers from a few years back. The Clippers when they traded DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin,
Yeah.
Chris Paul. They set themselves up with 3
They did it
first
right.
round picks. They did it right. I want the Pistons to do that. And now look at them. Granted, it helped to be in LA and bring in a couple of big names, but They had a young nucleus that looked like it was going to be good. I want the Pistons to do that. I want them to, trade away some of these assets that you can get first-round picks. Maybe you're underselling it a little bit. Maybe you ask, for a mid-first-round pick and, an expiring deal that matches the contract for Andre Drummond. You're underselling him a little bit. But you know what? When you match that up with another first-round pick for Derrick Rose or another first-round pick for Luke Kennard, and now you have 3 of them and you take 2.
Reigning first-round picks.
I know. You get a first-round pick. You get no. And then you take 2 of them.
Raining picks.
But you take 2 of these first-round picks and turn them into a higher lottery pick. Guess what? You've got a shot at you've got a really good shot at a superstar at that point. Because while sure, this draft isn't great, there are a few names that could be something in this draft. How interesting would it be to have LaMelo Ball here in Detroit?
That'd be fun.
It'd be something. I don't know if the kid's going to be any good, but he might be. There is potential out there. You got to go get it, though.
Like, imagine if, the Pistons were wise enough to tank and get, a Anthony Edwards, for example. Mm-hmm. And then still, have enough draft picks in the first have enough draft capital in the first round to take some other stabs on top of the fact that you just drafted a guy who could be
not just some other stabs, but if you tell me that you tank and get Anthony Edwards, and then you tell me that we've got 2 more first round picks or 3 more first round picks, we're gonna package a couple of them and move up in the draft to go get I don't know, LaMelo Ball or somebody. Holy hell. You may actually have something you can build around from now on. You may have some potential future stars. And if one of them busts, but the other one succeeds, you know what? I'll call it a win. Because you finally got a star here. A star people want to watch. A star you can build around. That's young and cheap. A star players want to play with.
Yeah.
I'm not saying LaMelo Ball's the guy I want to target because I know he comes with a lot of headaches as well. I'm just throwing him out as an example of somebody at the top of this draft who probably could potentially be something. I want the Pistons to be a part of this group that is able to take a stab at some of the premier talent coming in the draft because they've refused to get there over the last decade. Refused. Let's play ball now. Mm-hmm. We have a good opportunity to do it. We have movable pieces for the first time in who knows how long. Let's move some of these pieces, get the draft capital, and rebuild this damn thing the right way.
I was just looking at I pulled up a mock draft just to see what some mid first round names are that the Pistons could possibly take stabs at. You can get a guy like RJ Hampton. You can get a guy like I have heard this name float around. I didn't know he was this far back. Precious Achiuwa, and I can never forget the name Precious. So, but there are names here that. After you if you were able to lose enough games, because again, what is it, the top 3 picks all have equal shot at the first overall. The bottom 3 teams all have equal shot at the first overall pick.
Yes.
So if you can take enough to get an equal shot and possibly get an Anthony Edwards
or a LaMelo Ball,
or LaMelo Ball, then you
somewhere up there.
You can pair him with an RJ Hampton in that backcourt. I mean, you already have a young backcourt.
Or you tell me that, hey, you go and get an Anthony Edwards or LaMelo Ball, you get lucky in the lottery and you tanked enough to get up there, and you pair him with a Cole Anthony from North Carolina, your backcourt is now Anthony Edwards and Cole Anthony. Oh, please, yes. The Tony brothers. Do you imagine how they market that? The Tony brothers?
Wouldn't be much passing in that backcourt.
No, not at all. But either way, or you tell me that you find a way to get LaMelo Ball or someone like that. You have
the Russ Westbrook, James Harden, super light.
Yeah, I can't believe LaMelo Ball is 6'8". Damn, he's tall. He's a 6'8" point guard.
Growth spurt.
That's wild. Yeah. But either way, and then you pair him with, like you mentioned, an RJ Hampton or an Isaiah Stewart or. There's a bunch of names out there that are solid basketball players in the mid picks in this draft that are very attractive here that I like a lot. I know it's not a great draft, but you can pick and find your spots with the guys that you could potentially like, but you got to have the capital to make it happen.
Yep.
And you can't do that without making
NBA
moves.
NBA Draft.net has the Pistons taken right now.
I'm looking at it.
I got it right here. Denis Avdija from Israel, small
Denis
forward.
Avdija. Never heard of him.
Nope, me neither.
Another small forward, though. Didn't we just take one of those?
Didn't we take a small forward project from, what was he, France? Where is he from? The guy we took Italy?
Well, also we have Sekou.
I know, but No, we took someone.
I know. I can't remember his name. I can't believe Cassius Stanley's fallen that far back in the draft, all the way into the second round.
Jesus.
Pick 34 to Cleveland is what NBA Draft.net has him at. I would have thought that dude was a lottery pick.
Yeah. Anyway.
Either way, I'm a big believer in if your team ain't working out, there's no reason to fight for an 8th seed in the NBA. And if you have movable assets, like this is one of the most opportune times for the Pistons in recent memory with their organization to rebuild things the right way and start from the ground up here. I don't care if you don't think this is a draft to invest in. Just do it. Because this could be a draft to invest in. We don't know. Nobody actually knows what these kids are going to be. So just please do it.
I'm going to close it out with two questions, because I just know something that I'm very curious about. Well, second round, if you're the Pistons, would you take a flyer on Cassius Winston?
Yeah. A young, talented point
How
guard
about the
that,
fact,
he's not that young, but a
this is
talented
what really
point
surprises
guard.
me. Remember how big of a deal Marcus Howard was last year during the tournament? He's mocked to go 41.
Wow. That's pretty
I don't know if it's because he's 5'11".
It's got to be because he's 5'11", 175.
I'll take a stab at Marcus Howard.
And the
I'm
type,
just saying.
I would too. But the type of player that he is also, plus he's a senior, so he's a 4-year player.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of reasons that you could go against him.
Very much a shoot first point guard.
He is very much a shoot first point guard. He also makes poor decisions with his shooting. There's a bunch of reasons why he'd be a guy that would go that far back.
I would definitely take a stab in the second
I mean,
round. Those are the guys you're looking at.
There's tons of reasons that you can there's tons of examples of guys just like that in the NBA now that would give you a reason to take a stab at them.
Yeah.
Now, before we close out, there is one more trade potential here that I wanted to mention. Now, this is obviously part of an article that we're going to be talking about on our live show tonight, but I wanted to pose just the Pistons piece of this. It's an article from MSN.com today that I saw. It's 6 painfully simple trades that I want to see happen at this deadline.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, these are all ESPN trade machine trades that basically make the money work, and it's a 1-for-1 deal, and it's 2 guys that could be traded that could potentially happen. Now, the Pistons one they have is Andre Drummond.
Well, while you do that, I'm going to check for a Woj bomb just in case.
Okay. Andre Drummond straight up to the San Antonio Spurs for DeMar DeRozan. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about an Andre Drummond for DeMar DeRozan trade straight up? The money's damn near exact. DeRozan makes $700,000 more a year, less than $700,000 more a year this year than Andre Drummond.
Real quick, how much do you know how many years left on
they
DeRozan's
have
contract?
Equal contracts, 2 years.
Oh, so they expire at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I do it. DeRozan's much more of a guy you can build around than Drummond is.
I agree with you. 100% agree with you. I actually don't think the Spurs would do this.
Yeah.
But it would be something interesting.
And the
Spurs have been looking at potentially shopping DeRozan. Their season hasn't exactly gone very successfully. So, I mean, that is something you could take a look at. I wouldn't mind building around, not necessarily around, but building with a guy like DeMar DeRozan. Mm-hmm. Especially, I think he might be some kind of a help to Sekou Doumbouya, too.
Yeah.
Because they are both wings, slightly different players, but you could make something happen there, and he could be a mentor for a guy like Sekou and help him build.
Yeah.
But anyways, though, do you have anything? Excuse me. Do you have anything else to add? Yeah, struggling there. Do you have anything else to add before we close out?
Well, to you guys in the future, I hope you're happy listening to this and not listening to this because you're disappointed.
Well, let me ask you this. Well, I guess we really didn't even get into that portion. Let me ask you this. How would you feel if any of these trades went down?
We said, for the Kennard trade, we'd both be ecstatic. We got
right. I guess we kind of did touch on that.
And then we said any trade that gets us draft capital would make us happy.
I guess we kind of did.
Yeah, as long as I'm not okay. If it came, I don't think the Pistons would do this trade. But
that Andre Drummond got you 2 second-round picks.
Exactly.
Okay, that's different.
Okay.
But either way, even at that,
I would be more mad at how were you not able to get a better haul for Andre Drummond than 2 second-round picks.
I would be. See, that goes back to my something is better than nothing.
You could have gotten so much more from last year and you didn't do it.
Oh, that's where I would say you have a big issue. But either way, I hope these trades happen. I hope we get assets, and by that I mean draft assets out of this.
Would you be happy with Derrick Rose for a second or 2 seconds?
For 2 seconds, yeah.
2 seconds for Derrick Rose? You'd be
I would. You'd have to sweeten the deal quite a little bit there. You'd have to give me more than what Reggie Bullock got.
All right, what's the bare minimum you'd be willing to accept for Kennard? That's the last one.
Back end first. I would say
agree with
pick
you.
25 or later.
I agree with you.
I think I'd need a first round pick for Luke Kennard just because there's not really much injury history. He's still cheap, even though he's next year's a team option.
Yeah, Kennard's not someone that you have to get rid of, but if it's sending you first,
he's young. He's a good shooter. I would like to see a back end first. I'd like to see at least a first round pick for Luke Kennard. But anyways, though, guys, that is going to close it out for tonight. We thank you for listening. As you follow along with us each week, we apologize for not dropping an episode last week, but life gets in the way sometimes. But now we're back, so check out our live show www.twitch.tv/thefanreport. We go a little bit more in depth on the trade deadline, on more of a national spectrum, not so much just the Pistons, but national spectrum.
So
We obviously
we'll be covering that Clint Capella trade, for example.
Right.
The Rockets trade.
Right.
That 4-team trade. I'd say 4 teams, 12 players, or the hell it was.
Right. But we also talk about a lot of other things too, sports, random stuff.
We'll be talking about the Oscars today,
The
for
Oscars,
example.
yep. So, but thank you guys again for listening, and we will catch you next week. This has been the Fan Reporters. Bye, fans.
For fans.
Have a good week, guys. See ya.
Peace.